Daniel, how's it going, man? It's like,
Good.
it's a pleasure to have you aboard Transatlantic. Was looking forward to interviewing you since Monday.
Yeah, I was going to say on Monday, 2 days late. I'm sorry.
How does it feel to be in Vegas for London International Awards?
It's great. It's my first time in Vegas. First time at Lear, obviously.
You haven't gotten close to any table.
Not close to any table. It's not my thing. But had a look around. It is mad.
Okay.
Everything they say it is.
Is there something that you truly like about Vegas, or is like always?
I love the fact that they do shit. That like, why not build a hotel the size of? Why not build a hotel? Why not build a hotel that's got its own canals and make it? You know,
Right.
why not build a St. Mark's Square and put a fake roof on it? There's a sort of real. Nothing is sort of offbeat. Nothing is sort of out limits you. Everything goes, and no one seems to sort of question why you shouldn't do something, which I love about it. It's not my favourite place in the world, but I love the fact that you can come along with a crazy idea. I want to build this. I want to build a concert venue like this.
It's almost like there is this a giant word like why not?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. The big question mark. Why not? Let's do it.
Okay, so 7 questions like the 7 seas, and I'm gonna navigate your ocean. Let's start with the first one.
Yeah.
Screaming in the ocean sea is considered an organ for the nervous system, if you will. It breaks down the barrier of self-constriction that engulf our days. Talking about screaming in songwriting, there is one line from a lyric that stuck with me. It comes from the Jefferson Airplane, and in the song White Rabbit. In the song, Grace Slick screamed twice, feed your head, feed your head. So I'm asking you, without screaming, what do you do to feed your head these days?
It's a great question. Apart from obviously listening to this podcast.
Don't be.
Yeah.
Come on, this is the first time that you come down. Don't tell me that you
I've
listen.
listened to a few of your things. I think I'd like to say, in my sort of parallel reality, what I do, I spend my spare time trawling art galleries and listening to really interesting podcasts and stuff like that. But I think in reality, what I do for a living is advertising. That's really only my side job. My real job is sort of being a dad to 2 young kids. And I've got 2 young girls, and I think every moment I'm not working, I'm spending with those 2 and my wife. And I think because of that, I probably feed my head with most of what they're feeding their head with. So it's a lot of
Do they feed your head?
Gabby's Dollhouse and reading a book at the moment. My youngest called Marshmallow Pie. It's about a cat that can talk.
I like that.
But I think to be honest, I don't really fill my head with as much interesting stuff as I used to. But I do actually think there's something to be said for sort of switching the brain off, and I do think there's value in sort of not, if you're always trying to fill your head with stuff, I think that the sense of you deep down that you're sort of trying to sort of, you're sort of still working. Sometimes you kind of just, I'll look at this, I'll live it, I'll read that, I'll watch this because it could come in useful. And I think there's something really interesting about, or really useful about about just switching the brain off. And so when I do watch Gabby's Dollhouse, my brain's off, which is good. And I think actually one of my favourite sort of, not favourite thing, but something I find myself doing quite a lot is hate watching. So I pick something really bad on TV and just hate watch it.
Hey, watch.
So I'm sort of working, but I've got it on in the background. Something
really bad.
Something I'd never choose to watch. On the way over, I had Avatar 2 in the background. But I was doing
You know who used to do that? J.D. Salinger, the author of Catcher in the Rye. He was obsessed with B-level shows.
Yeah.
And he would watch it like every single day, like in the afternoon. He would just sit there while he was writing and watching the shows.
There's a lot of it as well. There's a lot of B-level stuff on Netflix. There's this terrible Viking thing. For some reason, I've watched every single series, but there's always hate watching
Well,
in the background.
At least you don't go out like at the train station watching train, like Trainspot.
Yeah, I'm not that learner, not that desperate.
Okay, my second question. The ocean has the power to bring us into contemplative state, and it is the perfect place for asking ourselves existential questions. Now, there is a statement that I find quite profound, and it goes like this. There are only 2 tragedies in life. One is not getting what you want, and the other one is getting it. Which of the 2 is a bigger tragedy for you?
As a creative person,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm automatically going to that place of the daily dilemma we have, right? It's like, will the client buy a work or won't they buy it? Will it happen or
It's
not?
more about be careful what you wish for.
Right. But I think I think we talk to any creative. I think the sort of the struggle is trying to get work bought, and we're here celebrating the work that has been bought, right? And for every bit of work that's here, there's been 1,000 pieces that didn't get bought. And I think that's the rub that we have. And I think for me, I think you need both. I think you need both. I think one.
You need both tragedies.
You do, because I think someone said to me earlier in my career that if clients bought every piece of work we put in front of them, it would be boring. I think there's something about the chase, right? There's something about the dreaming of, will they buy this one? No. Will they buy that one? Will another client buy the idea? So I think if we did just get every bit of work we wanted to make made, without any objection, without that kind of war of attrition, without that struggle.
You need a struggle.
Yeah, you need a struggle, and I think the struggle is what keeps us awake, right? What keeps us going. I think you need that. I think
You need
the
a drama.
chase, right? The chase and the game of creativity
It's true. It's true.
that you absolutely need. Otherwise, it'd just be a bit boring, I think.
You're right. It's actually true. You need a struggle. You need a drama.
It's that reward of finally I've got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Earth is massive enough, and its spin is sufficiently slow that gravity holds everything onto its surface, even its atmosphere, without any danger of it spinning off into space. In other words, gravity contributes to the structure of the universe. Looking at our business as a universe on its own, what would be the equivalent of gravity? What's the single elements that help us or support us into this universe? What's gravity in advertising business?
I'm going to give you a really unoriginal answer, which is not the kind of answer I should be giving on a show like this, but I think it's got to be creativity. It has to be creativity. I think there's this business that operates in funny ways, and I think the thing that binds us together is creativity, and I think it's the constant. The industry is always going through changes, and it's always sort of pivoting, and I think when I first started 20 odd years ago, the sort of AI or metaverse of the day was the internet. The internet coming, I haven't talked about, is the internet gonna disrupt what we do? Are we gonna have jobs in 3 years? And of course we did. But we did the industry did sort of change and adapt and pivot. They're doing it right now in the face of AI. It did it last year with the whole metaverse. And I think there's always going to be these changes coming along. I think the thing that sort of is always there is creativity and how.
Not to be. That's like a good answer though.
Yeah.
But not to be a trivial person here. But do you think the money could be gravity? Because I found that. As a creative, let's face the truth, more than often on a day-to-day business, I do believe that creativity is disregarded. And what comes first is money, because it's a business. And what dictates everything is money, because it's a business. Yeah, of course, we like to think that it's a business run by ideas, but honestly...
I think it's creativity. I think... Yes, obviously it's the business, so money is the sort of the end game, and it's the driving force. But I think it's creativity that holds it together. It's that kind of unseen force. It's that kind of hard to define thing. It's like where did gravity come from? So I think it's the same. It's the same thing with creativity. It's like it's there, and I think it's unseen, as in it's not unseen, but it's like an unseen sort of quality, right? It's like we can see how it manifests. But I think for me, it's definitely creativity. It's the thing that binds it together.
For me too, and like your answer, I totally agree on your answer. For me too, it's creativity.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's very hard to believe when you're faced with certain kind of sometimes it seems that other things come first. Political game comes first. Money comes first. Sometimes you can come up with an incredible idea, and the idea is not recognized, or the idea doesn't bring the results that was expected to bring. And so you you knock it down to a different idea that is not as good as the one that you
Yeah.
came up with, but it bring more money. So it's a very, very fine line. But I think us as a creative, some of the frustration may come from that there is like more than just like gravity, and there is like different laws that
Yes.
sometimes come in place and they fight each other.
And I think in any business, money is
In any
you could say
business.
money is a gravity. I think the thing that separates our business from others is this weird thing called creativity, right? It's sort of like, it doesn't make sense a lot of the time, and we sort of will over-index on it sometimes, and it, you know, the money and creativity thing, they don't always, you know, sometimes we'll put more effort into something we're not being paid for,
Right.
but it's that kind of passion that drives the industry. And I think if creativity were to sort of disappear tomorrow, I don't know what you'd be left with. You'd be left with some weird
with
sort of
nothing.
like performance.
An empty
yeah,
world.
what it'd be,
Yeah.
yeah, we wouldn't be here, nothing would be here.
No, absolutely. Okay, so the middle layer of the world's ocean receives only faint filtered sunlight during the daytime. So there is literally like, the surface, of course, receives
Yeah.
sunlight, but the middle layer, it never receives sunlight. Only it's filtered. It's almost like the forgotten portion of the sea.
Yeah.
If you were to think of our industry as an ocean, what would be the middle layer, the one that doesn't really get the spotlight, the one that is like is kept in the dark but is extremely important?
Yeah. Great question. We're obviously sitting here at LIA in Vegas. We've been here for the last 3 or 4, 5 days, looking at the best work, celebrating the best work, celebrating the people behind it, copywriters, art directors, creative directors, directors, photographers. There's a whole tranche of people beneath them in the industry, particularly in the agency side, that don't ever get on stage.
They never
Their
get
names don't
recognized.
appear in the annuals or on the... Yet without them, the whole industry is kind of... We wouldn't be here. And...
Where do
Yeah.
they work, these people? Which
I think
department
that-
are you
because
thinking
I'm not
about?
talking about like... I'm talking about the real, so like finance people, for example. The
Financial-
finance people don't get any... I mean, I think account people are as important as creative partners. You know, I think if you don't think account people are important, then you shouldn't be in this job. But finance people, you never see a finance person on an awards show yet. It's sort of like it's the work that they do behind the scenes that allow us to sort of do what we do. And I think someone once said to me, I can't remember who it was, that asking a finance person to forget about the numbers and to sort of ignore the P&L, it's a bit like a finance person asking us to forget about being creative. And I think at the business we've got to sort of, you've got to respect the finance people and you've got to let them do what they do. And I think there's too often it's kind of simplified as this, and it shouldn't be.
That's a curious answer,
Yeah.
man. That's actually, I like this answer. I would
Yeah.
never expect you to go like there, like,
Yeah.
I would expect to say maybe like, the account of even like the producers,
Yeah.
like, but financial people never really thought about it, but it's true. I mean, it's undeniably true that they are the one that run the engine
Yeah.
in the background, like, but maybe we always see them skeptic, you know
I think
what I mean? It's
production
like,
people, I think they do get the spot. They are.
do, yeah.
They're not in the middle part. You know, they're sort of toward the top. So
Yeah.
I think if you talk about the middle of the ocean, the people that never get seen, who are behind the scenes, it is sort of the back end.
Yeah. When you spend days at the sea, the time becomes your ally. It moves very slowly and creeps on you. But when you find yourself fighting a thunderstorm, time is there to remind you that this too shall pass. Now, Tom Hanks, during a roundtable with other actors, said that if there was one thing that he wished he knew early in life, is that this too shall pass, meaning that time is truly your ally. What's your point of view on this? Is there anything that you wish you knew earlier in life?
I used to have a very cool T-shirt with "This too shall pass."
This
on it.
too shall pass. It's a great,
great
like,
statement.
it's a
Don't
great
know where it
statement.
came from originally, but
I was actually watching like this roundtable. It was Robert De Niro, Tom Hanks, Shia LaBeouf, in between actors,
Yeah.
and Jamie Foxx. And Tom Hanks start like literally saying this. He says like, I wish when I was younger that I knew that the mindset was like, these too shall pass. Are you feeling great now? Are you feeling like that you are on top of the world? These too shall pass.
Yeah,
Do you
both
feel like,
ways, right?
yeah? Do you feel like down? Do you feel sad? Do you feel in pain? These too shall pass. It's something that's no matter what,
I think
these two shall pass.
you're asking me what would I go back in time.
Yeah.
I think
And
not
what-
dissimilar.
yeah.
It's not dissimilar. It's sort of connected, and maybe it's a bit smaller than that, but it's connected. Which is, it's okay to make mistakes.
Don't make mistakes.
I think make mistakes. It's
Make
actually good
mistakes.
to make mistakes, and I think particularly as a creative person, you need to make mistakes. I think if you're not making mistakes, you're probably being too safe, right? I think it's the
Right.
mistakes that sort
Do you
of mold
think
us,
that
shape us, and
Do you think that we work in 2003 in an industry that allow you to make mistakes?
not as much as they used to.
That's a good.
I think it's become, as we know, a lot more corporate, and it has become a lot more serious. But I do think making mistakes as a creative person.
But stay there. You say something really
Yeah.
interesting, man.
What-
And I'm glad that you say this is some kind of breath fresh air. We got more corporate, got more serious.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I think the way the world's gone, and I think it's a shame because when I think I got into the industry 23 years ago, and I felt like I'd got to a party that might have been a lot better 2 hours ago. I had that kind of feeling. I just heard the stories about what it was like to be. I'm not talking about the parties and the excess. I'm just talking about the way creativity was indulged back then, and you had so much more time to work on stuff, and
Yeah.
you're given so much more freedom, and I think it's a financial thing as well. I think the numbers are not what they used to be, and I think you sort of alluded to it 10 minutes ago that money is growing. It's a much more important thing than it used to be in the sort of ecosystem of our industry, and I think so it has become more serious. But I still think if you're a young creative person, you should be you should be exploring and just have this open mindset and not trying to copy what you think is the right thing to do, because that's just going to lead you nowhere interesting. It's not going to. You need to sort of find your own path, and sort of those mistakes, no matter what Tom Hanks said, may feel at the time like not great, but time
This too
passes.
shall
You know,
pass.
this too shall pass.
I'm at the sea and nobody owns me. This sentence comes from the terrific talent of Astrid Lindgren, the Swedish author who created the character of Pippi Longstocking. She confessed to being completely intimidated by the ocean, yet fascinated by it. This is what she said: "It's the openness of the water that I'm attracted to. I don't like to feel tied down to anything. I don't see myself ever marrying or having a burning need to own a house in a place where I'll live forever. It's just not me." Is there anything about the ocean, the sea, the water that attracts you? If not, is there any other natural elements that fascinate you?
I don't live anywhere near the sea.
But you live in an island.
But I would love to live by the sea. You do it. You live
I live
near
in San Diego by the ocean. To me, after so many years living by the ocean or living in a city that has an ocean, it's impossible to see life anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like I ride my motorcycle to the ocean every single day. It's part of my routine. In between meetings, I take my motorcycle right to the ocean. It takes me like 15 minutes. See the ocean and come back. That's what I do.
And I've forgotten who it's by, and I think it's called The Blue Mind.
The Blue
I
Mind.
think it's called The Blue Mind. And it's by this marine biologist. And he's written it with a lot of neuroscientists, and he looked into why people love, like when people go on holiday, they always ask for a sea view. People want to have the house for the sea view, they want the house on the ocean.
He's also
They're deep-rooted, and he traces it all the way back to sort of our evolutionary sort of...
He's also like I read that when you're staring at the ocean,
Yeah.
is a contemplative state because from an anatomical point of view, it matches the heartbeat of your heart. So really like the ocean motion, it begin to match your heartbeat. So you actually feel completely in sync. There is like a scientific research that was done and that proved that your almost like your wave, your nervous wave, your like energy wave, start matching like the waves are the ocean. That's why when we stare in front of the ocean and when you sit there, like we always like trying to be very philosophical, you are very emotional because of this very reason.
So I think it's the same in this book, and I just kind of flicked through it and sort of didn't read the whole thing properly, but they talk about how because we all came from the sea originally, when we get to the sea and look at the sea, there's something deep-rooted in us which is being sort of satisfied.
I like the blue mind as a title.
And I think it's called a blue mind. And the people who live by the sea are proven to be happier, more successful, less anxious. So I think I would love to live by the sea. I don't currently, but maybe in the future one day. I think it's just definitely some sort of deep-rooted, innate draw to the sea. I think it's a bit like being creative, right? I think everyone somehow, no matter what you do, everyone wants to be creative in some way, shape, or form. I mean, you're doing both. You've got it nailed, right?
Yeah. But and is there any other element that you are attracted to? The sun, the wind, the earth.
I do enjoy the water. You wouldn't think it living in London, but I do think there's something about the sun that leads to it's a healthier place to be. Not just in terms of like, definitely. I think living somewhere warm by the sea. It's not really rocket science, is it? But
I do think that London, having lived there, and having like a lack of sun, right? Like I'm in San Diego where we get sun on a daily basis. Like it's almost like you take it for granted.
Yeah.
But I think like when you live in a city like London, and the sun is a true gift. When it comes out, you go Regent Park and you see people like literally sitting and and taking the sun, taking the sun in, right? You don't see that in San Diego.
People say that London is the best place to be on a sunny day because we're so happy about the sun being here, but everyone goes out and enjoys it. Whereas in any other city, it's kind of a bit more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Leah and Las Vegas have been holding each other's hands for a while. There is an age that the city transfer onto the event. I may be a romantic, but I do believe that money laundering apart, he had to be a dreamer to build a playground in the middle of the desert. Would you consider the Leah Awards show a playground for dreamers? And if so, why?
I think the choice of venue is interesting. I think we talked about it earlier before we recorded, but Vegas is this place where why not could almost be built as a sort of statue. And I think there
is also a parallel to me, like, maybe I'm getting like too deep into that. My interpretation is also like, what struck me about Vegas is like you have something in the middle of nothing. And I think that whenever we come up with an idea, you have something in the middle of nothing.
Yeah.
The idea comes from nothing, and now you suddenly have something, and then you start building on it, and you get lights, and you get luminous, and you get flashy, and you get interesting, and you get talk about it, but it's still in the middle of something.
It's quite sporadic.
Yeah.
I think someone said that Vegas was similar to Dubai, but it's not. I think Dubai feels a lot more like Vegas without a sense of humor, right? It's sort of
Vegas without a sense of humor. I love that.
Someone said that to me, but I think it's true. And Vegas has got this weird sort of underbelly going on. I mean, you sense it, right? And there's no sort of design to it. People just keep on building on it. And I think as a choice of host city for LA, I think it's a great choice because I think just anything's possible to Vegas, and I think as a show, Leah is trying to sort of become the creative show, and it's very much made that choice that it's a creative show for creatives, and and trying to breed that kind of creative mindset and that kind of thing that you don't get in other shows so much these days. I think it is a good choice.
It's awesome, man. Hey, look, this was a great ocean crossing. I really enjoyed it, and I hope I'll see you again for another ocean crossing somewhere somehow.
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
Thank you.
and I wish you the best. And when are you gonna fly back to?
In about 3 hours.
In about 3 hours. Oh man, it's
Yeah.
travel safe then.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.